You're watching The Last Stand with Brian Custer.
Yes, it is The Last Stand. I'm Brian Custer. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. Hey, joining me today, I'm telling you, one of the rising stars at 140 pounds. This kid is unbeaten. In fact, he's 18 and 0. 17 of his victories have come by knockout. This kid's got dynamite in his hands, so much so that 13 of his victories haven't gone past the third round. He is a problem at 140 pounds. You know him as Ernesto Tito Mercado, joining us and making his debut on The Last Stand. Tito, welcome to The Last Stand.
I appreciate you having me.
Okay, look, man, last time we saw you in the ring, December, I want to say Antonio Moran, right?
Yeah.
And that was a destruction victory that you came. I know everybody is fiending. When are we going to see Tito back in the ring?
Yeah, man. Look, obviously, just like everybody, right? I've been itching to get back in the ring. But we're in talks for some time in June. Nothing official yet. Kind of got an idea. Should be late June. So, once I get that settled up, I can't wait to announce that so everybody can tune in for it.
Fantastic. Now, also, you're one of the hottest free agents out there too during that time. Now, you were with Matchroom for a little bit. Tell me why. What was it that you, when it came down to it, you said, you know what? I think it's time for me to look elsewhere.
Just a couple things, but we both mutually, decided to part ways, and I wish him the best, and I'm just looking to, keep moving forward in my career and doing what I do best, which is knock dudes out.
And when it comes to promotional companies, tell me what do you look, who are you looking at, and have you ultimately made a decision?
I mean, thankfully in that department I had no struggles, man. My phone's been ringing like crazy. I had to put it on D&D. And no, man, it's been fun. It's been fun knowing that, obviously what I've been doing is obviously sparking interest, and everybody knows that I'm a threat and could be a huge star. So to be able to get all the traction from all the biggest promoters right now that are making noise, it means definitely a lot, man, and just shows my potential and what I could do. So obviously if my phone wasn't ringing, that'd be a problem, right? But everybody knows that anybody that could go on the mic and talk and go to knock dudes out, I think they know that they got something special right there.
When it boils down to it, what's the deciding factor when you said this is the place I'm going to help guide my career? What did it boil down to? What did you want out of that promotional company?
Yeah, I still haven't made a decision yet, final, but I think it's ultimately, man, somebody that just aligns with what we got going, and obviously he's gonna make these big fights. Obviously I'm calling out the biggest names. I just want to go there and cement my name in the legacy. So I think long as something could align with everything, obviously everything gotta make sense financially, everything. So if all that makes sense, that's where I'll be at. And once I land somewhere, you guys know that it makes sense for me.
So in February, I think everybody saw the video when you confronted Frank Martin, the Ghost, about fighting him. Have you had any more talks, and do you think that is a fight that we will see this year?
Hopefully, man. Look, I haven't got no talks, from their team or none of that. Obviously, I know for good reason too. After Nahir Albright put him in, spaghetti legs. I'm not Nahir Albright, man. I'm telling you right now. I won't. First of all, for him to be letting a part-time nurse, part-time. I like Albright, but a part-time singer, to me, Albright's like a Chris Brown Jr. For him to be over there, putting him wobbly legs like that, that's kind of embarrassing for a fighter like me. For people to be like, oh. Frank Martin is gonna be a good fight for Tito. He's not gonna be no good fight for me. I'm gonna put him on the first 3 rounds. I'm telling you right now. Frank Martin's not on my level. I find that disrespectful that people even put him in the same category as me.
If you had your choice right now, Tito, if they said, you know what, we can make this fight right now. What's the fight that you've been fiending for?
Oh, that's a good man. That's a good question. Obviously, I've been calling a lot of these guys out. I think one that probably makes sense right now because he's not a world champion. I think Keyshawn Davis. He's not a world champion. I think we both on the same. I think as far as positioning in the 140 pound, I think we both in the same kind of spot. Obviously he's a world champion at 135, but once he comes to 140, we both in the top tens now. So I think that one would make sense. Mostly, man, any of those top guys, man. You got Duarte, you got a lot of these guys there, man. That it's for the takings, man. And they just got to go there and sign the contract.
Yeah. Well, tell me about Keyshawn because it's rare that people have called out Keyshawn. What is it that you see that you said, man, this is a perfect matchup for me?
Man, look, me and him just had beef since kind of history since the Olympic trials, the whole little incident that I had with them in USA boxing. So I had a little vendetta with him since then. Like I said, we never fought in the Olympic trials. I was supposed to get my box off with him, never had that. So I kind of hold it personal to him. I wanted to get my get back, and what better way to take his own in the professional rankings, right? He's a good fighter, man, but we didn't spar, but we shared the ring for a quick drill or two. He tried to get cute. I touched him with a shot. I saw his eyes get real big. So I know there's something there, man, once I touch him. So I just can't wait to go there and expose him. That little act
Mm,
that he's doing right now, man, that ain't real. That ain't real. That
yeah.
knockout, boom, he's gonna see a knockout when he wakes up in the morning when I hit him.
um, Another guy that you've certainly been boisterous about is Shakur Stevenson. In a fight, do you see that as a realistic fight for Tito Mercado?
I do and I don't. I think it just really depends. I'm obviously trying to position myself to get a belt. The reason I don't is I know he's chasing the big fights. Obviously, I know his name is at a much higher point than mine is right now. So I'm not sure if the risk will really meet the reward for him. But like I said, man, I think if I capture a title or two, beat some top guys, I think it definitely could be something that makes sense for for him. Uh, but but ultimately, man, I think it'll be a great fight.
And that's an interesting thing because Shakur is one of those guys that a people say is so skilled, b probably one of the best defensive fighters out there right now. Why would you want to fight someone like that in Shakur Stevenson?
Man, look, my whole thing is I'm in the game to be the best, right? These guys cry that nobody calls them out. Keyshawn, Shakur, the two step brothers right there that don't fight each other, right? They over there claiming nobody calls them out, nobody wants to fight them. I'm calling them out. It's funny though, because when I call them out, people complain about it. Oh, why is he calling? You guys want people to call people out. You guys want people to fight. That's what I'm here for. I think Shakur is a great fighter. I just people like, oh, you got to deal with his defensive boom boom. Well, you got to deal with me. I could pop too, and I could box. I fought styles like that many times in the amateurs, and I had no problem with them. So I think, like I said, man, I just need the opportunity to go there and show it and take them out.
When you look at your division, and man, what a great division it is. But you've got champions there. You've got Gary Antoine Russell, who is a champion. Dalton Smith, champion. Shakur Stevenson, champion. Uh, do you believe that Tito Mercado, most dangerous fighter at 140, best fighter at 140?
100%. 100%. I think, like I said, I just need a name or two to go with it and show people why I'm a threat like that. Like I said, I just need the opportunity. And a lot of these guys, believe it or not, a lot of these top guys that you guys, are y'all favorites, and these guys they don't duck smoke, boom, boom. They're dodging me, man. There's a lot of times where I had opportunity to fight these guys and they decline my fight. One of the top guys that I know off my head, the most recent one's Barbosa. He ducked my fight. They called me to fight him. I said, let's do it. Never heard nothing back. Same thing like Frank Martin. They call me. I think all these guys think that I'm bluffing or something. And when I really go in there and I tell them I'm accepting the fight, they just ghost. So, like I said, man, I just need the opportunity to go there and be one of these guys.
Mm. What is your ultimate goal, Tito? When it's all said and done in the ring, you want to be like, yo, I was, two division champ. I was this. What's your ultimate goal?
Man, obviously, like any fighter, right? I want to become a world champion, but I want people to, when they say my name, man, I want them to shiver. I want to be the boogeyman. And I think I've been doing that so far, knocking these guys out. That's why a lot of these guys don't want to fight me. Especially like you said, I'm knocking everybody on the first 3 rounds. Who wants to get embarrassed like that? Especially if you're a top guy. So I think when people say my name, I want them to be scared. I want them to whisper when they say my name. I don't want them to say my name out loud. I think that's the whole thing.
I like it. In any of these fights, sometimes, and I'm not saying, trust me, I am not saying this is you, but sometimes when you have been knocking guys out, you haven't had one of those fights where you've had to bite down on your gum shield and be like, yo, this is a war here. Uh, i- is that something that you think that you still need to really prove your metal? And the only reason why I say that is like Berlanga is a great example. He was knocking guys out his like first 16 fights, all in the first round, and then all of a sudden he started fighting some people at the next level, and it was a different story. So, do you think you need that fight where you have to bite down on your gum shield, so to speak, and really prove your mettle?
I wouldn't say that I really need it. Obviously, I would like to. That's why a lot of these guys, I get frustrated when I even knock these guys out in the first couple rounds. That's why for my last fight with Moran, I had him hurt in the first round, like in the first minute or two. I knocked him down by accident. A lot of these guys, I'm knocking them down by I'm not trying to knock them out so early. I'm trying to get rounds in. So, um, I definitely want some rounds in, but I think ultimately, man, when you get blessed with power like that, you don't really have to worry about it so much because I know I could box and I know it's not there's nothing in my mind where like I know that I'm not at that level where I can't bite down. I know I could do all that.
Mm.
So just having that power just makes it just a little easier. I don't really got to do too much. I just once I touch these guys, I don't have to worry about going to late rounds because my power carries throughout, round 1 to round 10. I'm not worried about that.
And talk to me about 140. How long do you see yourself in this division, and at what point do you go to 147?
It just depends, man. I think it depends on the mood I am. If I want to terrorize everybody, I'll stay at 140 for a while. But I definitely want to capture a title at 140 first before I do any, talking about moving up. And then after that, man, I want to go over there with the 147. That's where all the players are look like they're moving up to. So I definitely want to go over there and just like I said, man, do some terrorist attacks over there in that sense. Don't quote me on that one though.
Talk to me about who was the guy? Who was your guy? Obviously, as a fighter, there was some people you may look up to, and you're like, "Yo, I just love everything about him." So, who was that guy for you when you got into the sweet science?
For sure, I think the two most guys that I studied all the time was Sugar Ray Leonard and Alexis Arguello. Alexis Arguello is from my own country, Nicaragua. That's where my father's from. So, guy that was super technical, could fight, humble. Obviously, everybody knows about Sugar Ray Leonard, man. Fast hands, fast feet, could pop. So, I mean, they're just those two guys, man, were the guys that I always like, damn, I want to fight like them one day.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the one thing too, and I'm happy you said Ray for the simple fact that, and I know Ray well, is with you, and we spent some time at the last fight that we had. You remind me of Ray, dressed impeccably,
Yeah.
and has that $1,000,000 smile, good looking kid. And then when you get in the ring, it's like, oh my God, this is an animal here. But when you're seeing him out of the ring, he's Hollywood,
Yeah.
good looking, smile, dressed to the suits to the nines. And then you're looking in the ring, you're like, holy cow, who unleashed this animal? You remind me a lot of Ray. And I love that in you. Give me some guys, man, because obviously there are sometimes you have sparring sessions and work where you're like, hey, we those were pay-per-view matches I had. Benavidez said a lot of that with Zerto. And then you see what happened when they finally fought. What about for you in your young career? Have you had some work with this guy and you're like, look, we've had some wars and sparring. I can't wait to see if we ever fight in for real here in the pros.
Well, I'm gonna give you one name of a guy that obviously I know I'll never fight because he's in a smaller weight class, but at the time he was walking around a little heavier and I was a little younger, so that was good work for me. I sparred Chocolatito when I was like 17, 18, and he, believe it or not, he's a smaller guy, but he walks around kind of heavy, so I was still not my man strength, so it was a good sparring. I sparred him twice, and that one I was like, this little dude is tough. That's the one I had to bite down on my gum shoe. I was like, damn. Because the guy's so technical, man, and then I think it surprises a lot of people. Sometimes it's not even the bigger guys that are the guys that give you the most work. It's a little small guy. They angry. The little small guys, man, they know how to put some work in. So I definitely had some good rounds with him. I sparred him once in Nicaragua at the gym over there, and then I sparred him over here in Coachella where he trains at. But other than that, man, guys around my weight, there ain't too many, man. The most recent one will probably be Raymond Muertai. I sparred him a while back. We did some good rounds. I don't want to say too much. I'll just put it this way: we only did one sparring, and I never got the call back to go another one. But that's really it on that one there.
I like it. I like it. What about and the guy I love, and I know he's out there out west. What about Bam Rodriguez? You talk about the little guys. You like Bam
Oh, I
Rodriguez?
like Bam Rodriguez. I think he's man. I think he's one of the guys that's. I think the lower division was kind of dying out for a little bit, but you got him and you got Inoue and Nakatani. I think they're the ones that kind of pushing the lower weight classes, and man, you gotta love it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some of the fights, man, that are on the horizon. Give me your thoughts on Jerron Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas. What do you think about that fight, and who you think wins it?
I think that's such a hard fight, man. Because obviously you gotta give respect to Xander no matter what, because he's still a unified champ, right? But I think that was just a horrible fight. I think it was too early to make that fight for them. I do think that Boots still has more experience in his pedigree based on who he's fought. I think I seen some interview I think of Tim Bradley saying like I think this is Zayas' last fight with with Top Rank, so they're selling him out. I could kind of see that. I think Boost wins the fight, and I think he might be able to stop Zayas, and that's my opinion. But I think Zayas is a great fighter, man. I expect him to go there and go out on a shield at least for sure.
Nice. You know what? We all have that fight that you're like, man, this is the one I can't wait for because I think it's going to be pay-per-view. I think it's going to be the one that sets me to stardom. Obviously, Terrence had it when he finally got Canelo. He had it obviously when he had Spence. What's that fight for you?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know, man. There's like I said, there's so many good players. Like I said, there's so many guys I wanted to get in the ring with. Obviously, besides, Keyshawn and Shakur, I definitely want to get in the ring with Teofimo Lopez. I definitely want to get in there with Ryan Garcia. I want to make a fight out here in LA because we're both, SoCal boys. I think that would be great. Man, there's just so many fights, man. I don't know. I think it really depends what I'm looking for. If I want to go there and, really hit the how you say it, hit the social media and, be all over the place. I think I want to fight Ryan Garcia. I think me knocking him out would buzz me everywhere. If I want to go legacy wise, I think me knocking down Shakur will be great. I think me taking him out of the mix will be great. So it's just so many fights, man, that's what I love about the 140 to 147 now, or even 154, man, but 140, 147 specifically. There's so many big names and so many things that could happen. One fight, one can change everything for me.
Mm. How often do you think we will see you in the ring this year? Obviously, you fought in December. You said maybe June. How often will you get another one in before the year's out?
Oh, for sure, man. I'm planning to fight. I want to at least fight three. So I'm planning to knock the first two guys out in the first round, and then we go for the next one. I'm gonna come out quick. I'm gonna come out quick. I think so. Don't worry. I ain't worried about none of that. We're gonna go back right back into it. I'm gonna knock them out 1, 2 rounds, and then go call it a wrap and get my next fight in. I got to, man. I'm already behind on the year. I got to.
I love it. I love this. By this time next year, we're going to be saying Tito Mercado is what?
World champion for sure. I definitely see it. I'm ranked really high in two sanctioning bodies, so I don't see why not. I know I'm only a couple fights away, and I think that could definitely is definitely makeable and possible.
Lastly, as we wrap this up, for the people watching this, and obviously the boxing nuts already know who you are, love who you are, but for the casual fan, give us a final word, what they need to know about Ernesto Tito Mercado.
Man, I think when you say Ernesto Tito Mercado, I think, well, if you're talking about to the fighters, they don't want to mention me because they scared me, right? But if you're talking about to the fans, man, you're gonna see a guy that's explosive, that could punch, that could talk, good looking in the ring, don't get hit. There's just so many things, man. I think that boxing needs. I'm a true entertainer when it comes to the sport. When it comes down to my ring walks, I do something. When it comes down to trash talking, and the most important thing is anything I say, I talk, I always get it done. If I say I'm gonna knock a guy out in 3 or 4, put your money on it because I'm gonna knock him out in 3 or 4. Because I got that type of how you say it, what these new guys saying now aura. I got this new aura, man, that I can go over there and I can make anything happen that I want to and I put my mind to. So, man, definitely stay tuned because I'm gonna do some big things. And notice I said big thing. I'm not planning on doing it. I'm gonna do it. And all these guys that I'm gonna say I'm gonna knock out, I'm gonna do it. So I just can't wait, man, till it's my time, and I'm gonna show everybody exactly who Tito Mercado is.
I love it. I love it. And listen, we can't wait to see you back in the ring in June. Folks, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. And at 140, I'm telling you, you're looking at him right now. He already told you he's going to be the next champion at 140 pounds, Tito Mercado. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week. That's right. I am Brian Custer. This is The Last Stand. And we want to remind you, if you love this content, and we certainly thank you for watching, downloading, supporting the show, make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to The Last Stand, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification as well so you don't miss any episodes that we have coming up. Share the show as well. And you can also hear the podcast as well. You can download it, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Podcast Addict, Deezer, or whatever platform you listen to your podcast, you can find The Last Stand. We certainly appreciate the support. Don't forget, download The Last Stand.